Well, here we are. Possibly for the first time, if not going to be probably a couple more, as I've said before. I think this is not the last leadership contest we have, or at least we see, before the next general election for the Tories. You've already seen, and I've even shown you the comments down below, the feelings of many sort of members of like the Conservative Party saying this is only an interim leader. Like this person is not going to last long, and they are, shall we say, the caretaker leader before someone else emerges and comes forward. But who that's going to be, probably someone else from this list. Who knows? But we'll wait and see what will happen on there. But in the meantime, we've had Bob Blackman, who, of course, is the newly elected, shall we say, chair of the 1922 committee, has come out and he has decided to lay out the rules for the upcoming competition. And one thing in particular that I think has surprised a lot of people is he has come out with something called a yellow card system. We'll go into this maybe in a bit more in a moment. But yeah, if he thinks being a referee, giving out yellow cards is going to solve the problem of Conservative infighting, good luck. Because I'll tell you what, it may be now seen as a badge of honor for anyone who receives a yellow card from Bob Blackman. So we will see how this contest goes. But as I've said before, expecting all these different people from all these different factions, from all the infighting, all the stuff that we have seen to sort of come together round a campfire and start singing Kumbaya with each other, no, it ain't going to happen. And we'll get more into that as well in a bit too. But before we get more into this and go over his idea for the yellow card system, like I say, please do remember to click on the like, share button. And of course, down below, there's a link to my Patreon page, the one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can all buy me coffee. There's the YouTube thank you button. And of course, there is the Pony Club down below as well. So let's crack on briefly into Conservative Home. Bob Blackman writing here how the entire contest works. We don't need to go over this. We just need to go over the starting point of this because he's got some interesting things on this. So, after the devastating defeat of the Conservative Party suffered at the recent general election, it is clear that we need to understand the reasons for the defeat and choose the next leader and decide on the future and direction of the party. No one can agree on that, Bob. No one is agreeing on that. Like every single person that is running in this race, as we'll see in a moment, has wildly different ideas on why they lost and what went wrong. So the idea that there becomes a single unifying reason, oh no. Oh no. But anyway, Bob continues. I'm pleased that Rishi Sunak has now agreed to continue as party leader and leader of the opposition until the process has been completed and the new leader has election to take his place. As the newly elected leader of the 1922 committee, I am pleased that we now have a broad spread of candidates and that those candidates will now be supported to try and maximize their contact with party members who will then make the ultimate choice of the new leader. The nominated candidates now do feel the nominated candidates are now free to write articles, appear on broadcast media, and visit constituent associations over the summer recess. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for some of these articles because I'll tell you what, over summer, we are going to feed so well because not only are we going to see more what went wrong articles from these people, in some cases, we've already seen them write their own article of what went wrong, but we're going to have to now see them if they decide to actually justify their reasons as to this is why everything went wrong. So we'll see what happens over the summer, but it's going to be fun. Anyway, Associations are also now free to invite one or more candidates to an event, and there is, of course, no requirement to invite all the candidates. Given that many associations will now be organizing events during the summer and autumn, this should provide the maximum opportunity for candidates to speak directly to members. And just like, of course, the Rishi Sunak clip that I'm surprised did not get played on repeat during the general election, but then again, Rishi Sunak was doing his own very good job at destroying his campaign. I wonder how many clips are going to emerge from these constituency meetings, and we hear some of the insane things that get said when they think they're among friends. But like I say, we'll see what happens over the summer. And then this is where it gets interesting. However, we are determined that blue on blue personal attacks on candidates will not be tolerated. Okay, so how are you going to deal with this? After all, the constant sniping and backbiting amongst parliamentary colleagues was one of the contributing factors to our defeat. Yes, Bob gets that right in a bit. The constant infighting was a prelude to that. But how do you solve that? How do you go on to do that? And a future Conservative leader must be able to do that. And this is where it gets fun now. So, in the event that a candidate does break these rules, a quote yellow card and a statement will be issued, which will severely impact the candidate's chances of being elected. Wait, what? What? So you're going to give them a yellow card and you're going to issue a statement, and this somehow will impact their chances of being elected. So essentially, you are going to play by the supply teacher rules and come in and essentially write a note to their parents in a way and hope that that solves the issue. Oh no. Oh no. I don't think that's going to work. And even if, let's say, candidates get, let's say they decide not to engage in infighting, this doesn't act as a pressure release. What happens, what I believe will happen, is that their anger and their emotions will just get pent up. And then after the contest, this will all erupt. Because there is no keeping a lid on a Conservative Party civil war. You cannot keep them on. Ben Houchen came out and said, please, we need to appeal for peace. And then, of course, everything happened just a couple of days later. I don't think any of these Conservatives are going to end up this. But also, what does Bob Blackman, aka now the referee in this, consider to be a personal attack? Is it someone's record of their time in politics? Is it their their failures? Pree Patel had a lot of failures on immigration. She's going to be attacked on that. Does that become a personal attack? So they are going to, I think, really struggle to define what it actually means to be a personal attack. And I would not be surprised if people start trying to skirt the rules on this by starting off with their statement of, this is not a personal attack, but get ready for that. So anyway, and then, of course, impact the chances of the candidate being elected. How is that going to impact the chance of the candidate being elected if the members go, oh, actually, Kimmy Badenoch going off at James Cleverly for his time in government was perfectly right, and that's the type of leader we want. Badge of honor in many ways. So we'll see. We will see what happens, but maybe we should be trying to keep a tally who has the most yellow cards by the end of this, of course. So let's finish this off about this yellow cards. So it is absolutely right that the candidates do set out their policy platform and the views of the future direction of the party under their proposed leadership. Equally, we want to ensure that MPs and ex-MPs and party members do not indulge in directly attacks on candidates. Well, how are you going to police them? Because they're not even in this race. And you could probably and will do get proxy attacks if you are going to give these candidates yellow cards. Who's to say that, Kimi Badnoch doesn't say to one of her supporters, go attack Priti Patel on this? You can't yellow card someone because it's not Kimi Badnoch saying that. It's another MP or ex-MP or party member. Just again, the great idea of how they intend to stop infighting this. Honestly, one of the best things they could do is just let this happen. Let them get it out of their system. Like, by not doing this, you are only delaying the inevitable. So good luck. Anyway. So we are hoping that they do not engage in direct attacks on candidates, as this will only now serve to demonstrate to the public that we failed to learn our lesson from the last general election. And then he goes on to talk about the rest of the rules. And of course, these are the current candidates with their proposers and seconders. But we all knew who was going to be in. The only surprise really here is Mel Stride, who is probably running for a chance at a future cabinet position or a shadow cabinet position. That's the only reason he's in this race. I expect him to be one of the first people to drop out, to be honest. But then expect him to then get behind one of these people because maybe they've offered him a job as maybe shadow chancellor or something like that. So we'll see. But let's see what people are saying in the comments. So first one, I do hope the elected leader does have a vision for the kind of country that they want to build and has a plan for how to get there. For too long, power is now wasted on the party that wanted to do things but could or would not defend them, to then distract people by using dog whistles and weaponize social issues, despite hoping people would not see. A perfect example is, of course, immigration. Clearly in power, the Conservatives wanted immigration. Visas were stamped in order to distract from public anger about immigration that then spaffed hundreds of millions of pounds on the Rwanda scheme, which would do nothing about the vast majority of immigrants at all. Say what you mean what you say, and most importantly, just do it. And then someone else here. I understand that the yellow card system was brought in place to try and prevent infighting, but it will only probably result in now pent-up frustration leading to further infighting next year. The candidates need to be clear about what they feel went wrong with the party, and this involves honest criticisms of the actions of their colleagues. So we'll see what happens, but I do think that will be it. I think this will more just be a valve that will just lead to further infighting down there on that. So, yeah, Bob Blackman, aka the referee. I do not think this yellow card system is going to work. Like, I do not think this is going to work in the slightest. It has no hope of surviving contact. It is doomed to fail. They are going to engage in infighting because I will tell you now, not one of them actually has a concrete plan, except that, when they were in power, everything was all hunky-dory, going well. So none of them really have a plan or new policies that they would want to sort of implement or, try and, present to the party as something that they should maybe be going down sort of the road with. They're only going to be left, I think, ultimately with personal attacks, and it will start. James Cleverly, massive target. He was part of the Sunak administration, Truss, Boris, etc. He will be attacked for his record and time in office. Priti Patel, massive target herself. Immigration, there's your person almost responsible for immigration and destroying the immigration system in itself. Massive target for her fellow Conservatives. So the idea that they will not actually engage in personal attacks, or even via proxy engage in personal attacks. Because remember, oh yeah, we don't want, you know, MPs, ex-MPs, or other members of the party to engage in this. Oh please. If not direct attacks from one of these candidates, it will come indirectly from someone outside of the party. The idea that, you know, they are all going to come together and, you know, sing a nice kumbaya around the campfire. No, no. And even if there is some sort of peace during the summer, it will only be a temporary one. Because once the leader gets elected, whoever that might be, probably Kimmy Badenoch, as we've said before, depending what happens in the contest, it will be back to business as normal. And oh boy, will there be a lot of infighting. There will be a significant amount of infighting. Like, they cannot stop it. If anything, Bob Blackman should be just letting them get on with it, letting them infight, because you'd rather, shall we say, help them get this out of their system now, while, you know, the public probably aren't going to be paying attention to, you know, the Conservative leadership contest, unless you're a weirdo like me who likes watching this kind of stuff. Yeah, it's very, very unlikely to actually, you know, to happen. There is going to be no peace in the Conservative Party. There is going to be no, shall we say, full on truce. It will either be candidates will go in to directly attack them, and they will either claim, "Oh, but that's a personal attack on me." Honestly, it's gonna be funny if Bob Blackman does have to write a statement on this and what that statement actually says. And more importantly, what exactly does he mean by you know, impact their chances? But anyway, we'll see what happens. How many yellow cards will be issued during the contest? Who knows? But as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.